1本目前. Your opponent is sitting facing you. When you sense that he's about to attack, draw your sword and cleave his temple. Follow immediately with a downstroke. While rising, bring the sword up and then swing it down in the kesa style to perform chiburi. Align your rear foot with the front and then draw your right foot back. Extend your right elbow and replace the blade in the saya. At the same time, lower your rear knee to the floor. Rise and simultaneously align the rear foot with the front and assume taito shise. And now the main points of 1本目. When striking your opponent's temple, make sure that the saya is pushed way back. Bring the sword up close to your left ear and over your head, as if to thrust to the rear. The sword should be parallel to the floor. On completion of the downstroke, the kisaki is slightly lowered. At the end of the chiburi action, the kisaki is pointing downwards at an angle of about 45 degrees. 1本目前. When striking at the adversary's temple, the kisaki is too low. The kisaki should only be slightly lower than your right shoulder. When raising the sword overhead, the fists and kisaki are too low. The sword should be parallel to the floor. If the sword is held this way, the kisaki becomes too low. Slightly tighten the hold of the little finger of your left hand. When raising the sword overhead, turn the wrist slightly inwards, raising the blade close to the left ear as if to thrust to the rear. On completion of the downstroke, your left fist should be level with your navel, the kisaki is slightly lowered. On completion of chiburi, the kisaki is too high. The right fist should be level with the left, with the kisaki pointing downwards at an angle of about 45 degrees. Yonhonme tsukate. You are sitting in iai hiza facing an opponent with another adversary behind you. When you sense their intention to attack, strike the front opponent in the solar plexus with the tsuka. Draw your sword and pierce the rear opponent in the solar plexus. Then strike the front attacker with a downstroke. Let's look at the main points of 4本目. Strike the adversary precisely in the solar plexus with the tsukagashira. Hold the koiguchi with your left hand and bring it towards your navel. Straighten the right elbow and thrust the opponent behind you. Withdraw the blade and raise the sword high above your head. Face the front and deliver the downstroke. While replacing the blade in the saya, draw the right foot back to the left and take the sonkyo position with the left knee on the floor. 4本目使って. When striking your opponent, the tsukagashira is too high. The tsukagashira should be aimed at your opponent's solar plexus. At the time of striking, the rear foot was turned inwards and was not in parallel to the right foot. The rear foot should lie in parallel to the right foot. When piercing the rear adversary, the upper body is unsteady. Be careful not to turn too far. Straighten your right elbow and bring your right fist close to your body. When an adversary sitting at your left attacks suddenly, deflect his blow while rising and deal a slanting downwards counterstroke. Open the right hand and re-grip the tsuka with the same hand, palm downwards using a backhand grip, and replace the sword in the saya. At the same time, lower your rear knee to the floor. Let's look at the main points of 3本目. Turn to the attacker and draw the sword over your head to protect the body. Draw your left foot back and deal a slanting downward stroke. Stop your left fist at the navel. The kisaki should only be slightly lowered. Let's take another look at 3本目受け流し. The posture is rather unsteady. Distribute your weight evenly on both feet to maintain your balance. The kisaki is too low. When executed correctly, the left hand should stop at the navel with the kisaki slightly lowered. You're advancing when suddenly an adversary attacks from the fore. Strike upwards at an angle and execute a return diagonal downstroke. Take the hasso position for zanshin. And now for a look at the main points of 5本目. When striking your opponent with an upward diagonal stroke, your right fist should come up slightly above your right shoulder. Take the hasso position for zanshin. Grasp the koiguchi with the left hand and simultaneously arc the blade down and outward to perform chiburi. 5本目けさぎり. When cleaving your opponent with an upward diagonal stroke, do not lean forward. Steady yourself and strike upwards at an acute angle. Note the timing of the downstroke. There should be no pause between the upper diagonal stroke and the downstroke. Execute both strokes in one continuous movement. You're advancing when suddenly you sense an attack by 3 adversaries from the front and rear. First, cleave the right-hand side of the front opponent's face and deliver a double-handed thrust to his solar plexus. Turn back to face the rear opponent and deliver a downstroke. Turn and face the third opponent coming at you from the front and execute a downstroke. Perform chiburi to the right and return the sword to the saya, maintaining the same position. Let's look at the main points of 6本目. When striking the right-hand side of the front opponent's face, cleave down to his chin. Lower the sword to the chudan position and firmly pierce his solar plexus. Withdraw the sword, turn, and raise it over your head in the warding-off style. 6本目もろ手突き. The drawing of the sword and the cleaving must be done in one continuous action. As soon as the blade leaves the saya, its kisaki strikes the opponent. When drawing the sword, the upper body is not turned enough to the front. Turn the upper body and maintain a steady stance. When thrusting at the solar plexus, the kisaki is too high. Thrust as if you are pressing down the kisaki.